Hey, welcome back. This is the second video I've got for research methods. We're still in chapter 2, working on section 2.3, and what we're going to do this time is we're going to work on conditional formatting. I'm going to show you how to apply formatting to certain cells based on what's in those cells, and I'll also show you how to create a new variable and calculate percentages. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually start with that calculating percentages, and I'm going to put it in this cell here. Before I get started, I'm a sucker for symmetry. If you know me, I'm actually going to merge these over under the Home tab. I'm going to use merge across. And now I'm nice and symmetrical. I'm feeling much happier. And I'm going to label this new variable. I want to call this new variable percentage change. If you're following along in the book, you'll see that they've got a variable called percentage change in sales from 2010. And what that is a measure of how much sales changed between 2010 and 2011. In this case, sales for the Honda Accord increased. And how much did they increase by? So the simplest, in my mind, formula for that is to put the equal sign in the cell first, and then take the newest value, click on that cell, hit the divided by sign. It shares the key with the with the question mark. Then click the newer value in the next cell and subtract 1. You can use parentheses, but you don't have to. And we've got 15.4%. It's telling me that that's what the percentage is. So it's because I have that format already entered here. Let me just quickly get rid of that formatting, because this is the number that you'll see. You'll see 0.143956, right? And that we can read in our minds as 15.39%. So we can enter this new value divided by old value minus 1. You can do it as many times as it takes you to feel like you're getting the hang of it, right? Because this is just it's a practice of learning how to work in Excel. And when you feel like you're done, you take the most recent formula, you drag your cursor until it goes from being a white X to a black X, or cross, whatever that is, and you drag it all the way down to the bottom. At the very bottom, you'll see, since there were no sales of the Ford Fiesta in March of 2010, Excel can't perform that calculation, so you'll have to just delete it. There is what I think is an easier way. I like to enter the formula one time in the first cell only, equals 2011 value divided by the 2010 value minus 1. And then I like to highlight that cell, click in that box, it's not actually highlighting, and then putting the cursor over that corner, which is called the handle, if you want the technical term, then you double click. And it will fill in all those cells automatically. Right? Why not just drag, you ask? I know someone's asking that. Well, because when you've got 20 observations, sure, go ahead and drag. When you've got 1,000,000 observations, you're going to want to double click. You can also use that command. There's a command called, you hold down Command or Control, and then the up arrow, and that will take you from the top to the bottom. Command down arrow will take you to the bottom. Command up arrow will take you to the top. Not so helpful now, but give me a few hundred observations and you'll be appreciating it. So the last thing with these new variable and calculating percentage is just going to be formatting this. I want to highlight all this and format it as a percentage. In this class, we will format percentages with a percentage sign and with 1 decimal. So to change it into percentage, you can use either the drop down button and choose from these options, or you can click this %. You can see that it varies in the number of digits it gives you to the right of the decimal, but we can customize the number of decimal places by choosing these 2 boxes. One adds decimal places to the right of the decimal and the other removes them. In this class, we're going to do 1 decimal, and we're going to do that unless you've got less than 1%. 0.9% is not as useful maybe as saying that it's 0.872, right? Or if you have two percentages that are the same, 15.4%, say you have three 15.4%, you'll add as many decimals as you need to be able to tell those numbers apart so that you can discuss, the magnitude and the differences between them. All right. So now I want to do something that is called conditional formatting. What conditional formatting is it's Excel's way of identifying either patterns or characteristics of the data, and it can be helpful for data visualization and for identifying the largest or the smallest values or some type of outlier. So to get to conditional formatting, you're going to go to the Home tab, and what you're going to look for is this conventional formatting button here. What I want to do first is I want to ask myself in this question, hypothetically, is which cars experience a decline in sales between 2010 and 2011? I can eyeball that and say, oh yeah, look, I've got one, the Ford Focus, I've got the Chevrolet Malibu. You can identify them manually, but we make mistakes, right? So the conditional formatting will identify those for us. So I'm going to click on conditional formatting, and I'm going to go to highlight cells rule. What I want is to highlight any cell that's less than 0, numbers that are negative, right? So I want something, I'm going to go to less than here, and I'm going to look at this. Most of these things don't matter, but what I want to focus on is that my cell value is less than 0. I'm just going to type 0 in. It's going to format it automatically. If you're on a PC, you're going to have to tell it how you want it formatted. Then you click OK, and Excel has done the work for us. All those with negative sales growth, whose sales declined, are going to be highlighted. If you don't want to see that anymore, you highlight them again, and under conditional formatting, you say clear the rules. Clear rules from selected text or entire sheet, because I've got some text highlighted, I'm going to say, from selected cells. Well, another thing that's nice is to get a visual. Like, what is happening? I just need a chart that shows me these things. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, if numbers can say it, a chart can usually say it better. Conditional formatting has something for that too. Under conditional formatting, we can use here what's called data bars. I encourage you to play around with all of these because you can use conditional formatting for a lot of things, but I'm going to take a look. I'm a fan of green. I'm going to add green data bars. Check out a green data bar. What it did in this case is it makes a bar the size of which corresponds to the relative value of that cell. So you can glance immediately and see who had the highest sales increases. Well, it's the Hyundai Elantra, whose sales grew by 134%. The Kia Soul, whose sales grew by 96.4%, and the Nissan Sentra, whose sales grew by 104%. You can also easily see the negative values where sales declined because they're identified in red. So by adding some conditional formatting to your spreadsheet, you can quickly draw the reader's eye to the things that you want them to see, right? The things that tell the story. And here, I would see that of the 20 most popular cars in 2010, most of them experienced a growth in sales, right? Some of the big winners that year were the Hyundai Elantra and the Nissan Sentra, but other models, including longtime huge sellers, which we all know, the Toyota Camry, the Ford Focus, the Chevy Malibu, and the Nissan Versa experienced a decline in sales. So that's what I see. Tell me your own story, always. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video when we take a look at the next section in the text. Happy calculating.